G'day everyone. Oh well, got a treat for you guys today, and changing my words halfway through saying something. I've got a piston out of a Victa power torque type motor, 1997 according to the date wheel on the plastic components. Yeah, they have an alloy conrod. Not a bad unit, fairly reliable sort of motors. Bit of dirt in the back of that piston from me having it out. But this is what the piston. Okay, it's scored. It's obviously a rooted piston, but this came to me in a no start condition. You know, even on the top there, you can, if it'll focus, you can see, you know, on the extreme right hand side where it's just sort of, it's focusing on the sink. That's good, isn't it? There we go. You can see how it's sort of mushroomed over slightly on the top. This is I'm going to take a wild guess here and say this is probably the thrust side of the piston. Okay, the fact that I know it is irrelevant. This side's to the exhaust. Without bothering to work it out, I'm 99% sure this is the thrust side of the motor. But this is what happens when you run a motor and you do not put, you don't put enough oil in the fuel. Generally, this is from running a lean fuel to oil ratio or no fuel to oil. But the fact that this thing ran for as long as it has, like several years, suggests to me that it's probably been running a lean oil to fuel ratio. So it's just fucked. I mean, what can I say? Like, the cylinder's not as damaged as the piston is, but it's bloody close. If I can get it to sit there without rocking or moving around. You can see that this ring's been stuck for quite a long time, because you see that band of carbon below it. That's not supposed to be there. Like, if you flick this over, instead of having a band of carbon, it's actually got like a machine sort of, it's wasted, if you like, you know, so the rings make proper contact and blah blah blah, and so that the ring groove doesn't mushroom over slightly from it rubbing against the cylinder, which can happen. So that's why they waste it like that. You can get a close up of that. Yeah, so that's where I just scraped away the carbon with my nail there. But it's fucked. I mean, I can't even believe that this thing ran. Like, I pulled off the okay, now this is a test. If you've got a motor that's in a no start condition and it's got a new spark plug and they've replaced the air filter and you know, it's got fuel in it and you've checked it for spark, go ahead and pull off the air filter. In a case of a Victa lawnmower, you want to pull it off before the air filter housing, because they have a restrictor hole in there so that the carby works properly. And what you do is you pull off the muffler, completely remove the muffler, take it off the motor, and actually on that note you'll generally see damage to the piston. But if you want to confirm it, and I didn't even bother pulling the muffler off, I just tried to start it and checked for spark, and I thought, okay, well, we're screwed, because it's, you know, it should start. If it's not starting, it's got something seriously wrong with the motor. So anyway, pull off the air filter housing to snorkel, and in a Victa you can do that without even pulling the actual the whole lot apart. You can just sort of pull the hose adapter off the air filter housing near the handlebar and pull the muffler off. And what that does is it relieves the load on the pumping section of the motor, that is the piston and cylinder and rings and crankcase, of course. And generally, if the motor's rooted, it'll still run with no muffler and no restriction on the carby, because, you know, it's just, yeah, what can I say, it's fucked. But providing the muffler isn't blocked, which they almost never are on those Victas, they've got a pretty good muffler. Shove the muffler on while it's running. Don't hit the blades with it if it's a Victa, by the way, and the motor will probably die. It'll just stop running completely. Like, you might get it to run with the muffler removed, but you'll never have it running with the muffler on. Like, as soon as you put it even near, like as soon as that restriction hits the cylinder, it'll die. Generally what you'll have to do with a Victa is start it up with that air filter snorkel pipe removed off the air filter housing. Once it runs with no muffler, it'll start up and run like crap, and then you just sort of, you know, put the snorkel adapter back onto the air filter housing. You need that restriction on the carby. It will not run without that. But with no muffler, it'll have all the power in the world until you try to mow grass. But yeah, just thought I'd share that with you guys. This is why you need to look after your equipment, and with a 2-stroke engine, unless they're very specific, 25:1. That's the correct ratio. So what that means, and I'm not going to do it in gallons, sorry if you're watching my video and you're in a part of the world that doesn't do metric, but I don't do gallons. I do inches, I do feet, pounds, whatever, but gallons is just not something I ever work in. 25:1, so that is, and I'm being clear about this because of damage like this. A lot of people don't really seem to understand. It's written on the fuel filler cap, 25 parts of fuel, that is petrol, or gasoline if you like, to 1 part of oil. So if you work it out, and it's written on the back of the 2-stroke bottles, you can't screw it up. It's 200 mils, or 200 millilitres of oil. That is 2-stroke oil, not engine oil. Do not use engine oil in a 2-stroke motor. Use proper 2-stroke oil. I'm sure outboard 2-stroke oil is probably fine for a lawnmower. In fact, it's probably better than average 2-stroke oil. But yeah, 2-stroke oil. Buy it. Yes, it is cheaper to buy a 5-litre container of, Castrol GTX or whatever, than proper 2-stroke oil. But do yourself a favour, it will not run better. It'll carbon up quicker. Engine oil is heavier than 2-stroke oil is, and also it will not lubricate the bearings in the motor correctly. Oil in a 2-stroke is lubricated by mist in the fuel, and that's all the lubrication it needs. But if you use if you're mixing 50:1 or 40:1 or whatever, it's going to do damage eventually. So you've got to run 25:1 in your 2-stroke. My recommendation is buy a 4-stroke and check the oil regularly, but no one ever does that either. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys.